Hello and welcome to the Shoot and Share 5-day challenge. I am Lizzie Biggs and I am going live again for challenge day 2 because guess what? Somehow the audio feed did not work. So I apologise about that and let's try again. This video has audio. So first off, I want to encourage you to get your photos posted from challenge day 1 before we jumping into checking out your photos from day 2, or just take them all and put one on one post and one on the other post. I'm excited to see what you've got. The younger age group have got loads of photos firing off, and we had a very lively Zoom discussion earlier. Now, for yourselves, I believe one of you with the name Roman Soldier, I'm not sure who that was, tried coming on just before I jumped on to start the broadcast. I came on at 25 past and started it as planned at half past, but you were already gone by that point, but I had an email at 1/4 past saying, so just to let you know, we will be starting on the half hour, if I say on the half hour, but I'm always in a little bit earlier to do tests and so on and open the doors just beforehand, sort of 5, as I say, about 25 past if it's the half past. So I'm sorry about that, and you also came an hour later, so I'm sorry I missed you. Maybe we can do a slightly longer session and cover any additional questions you have tomorrow for the challenge day 2 on the Wednesday go live, and I'm thinking we might try and do it here with StreamYard because it's a simple link that you click and you come straight in just by clicking that link in the group, so that makes it nice and easy. You don't need the software on your device or anything, and then I can stream it to the group, so if anybody misses it, I don't need to record the video and put it up. We can just pop it straight into the Facebook group. But on with today's challenge. We are going to be covering framing. So, Josh, you had specifically said you wanted to do more about composition. So we are going to cover composition because we've talked about what makes a good photograph. We've talked about what it is that makes a photograph useful. It tells a story. It's useful for you to feel the emotions, or maybe it's a photograph that you can really engage with. So if you remember on the post I put up just before, I introduced you to my guinea pig Benjamin, and this is what some people wouldn't say is a classic photo of an animal. You normally expect them to be looking at you, but I wanted to create that sense of mystery, and you're seeing him, it's like you're sneaking up through the grass and he's hiding and he's in his box because they like the box. And you see the little window that we've got just here so we can peek out, and they've munched, they love to bite things and munch their way through and tear at them. So actually using cardboard rather than a really nice posh fancy one, they seem to prefer it because it gives them something to get their teeth into. But there we go. But yeah, because he's turned slightly away and you can just see his eye just here poking round his ear, it gives a sense of mystery. But also, I wanted to share that photo because this is really a part of my life. It's something that anybody who knows me knows my guinea pigs. So if people look at this, they'll go, oh yeah, that's to do with Lizzie. Hence why for this challenge, I decided to share this photo with you. So I'm excited to see what examples you will come up with when you are showing us your photos. And basically the idea of what makes a good photo is to push you to do something a little bit different, not just go click, but to think, can I convey some emotion, or can I make you think or make you wonder what's going on here? So it's not just as it first appears, go a little bit deeper. But now we're going to look at how to take a better photo and make it good to begin with. So what is framing? Now if you look at this box on the screen, the whole of this box, I am within a frame. You can't see off to this side, you can't see off to this side, you can't see what's above me or what's below. You only, as the viewer, can see what I have angled the camera. If I lift the camera up, you get a different view. If I drop it down, you get a different view. So what we're doing there is we are choosing, as the camera person, what we are framing within the screen that we've got. On my camera, to give you an idea of this, let me just turn it on and put the live view on the back screen so you can see where I choose to aim this camera and how I frame it up will affect the view and the photo that the viewer sees. So I can decide, if I zoom in, for instance, you would just get my eyes, although I haven't focused it there, and if I zoom out you get a much bigger scene. The idea there being very much that we as the photographer get to choose what goes in the frame and what other people see. But how do we do that? So first we decide, are we going to do a landscape photo or are we going to do a portrait photo? Are we going to have it so that we got the whole width, a wide angle, but not very much height to it? So that's where a landscape, because if you look out towards the horizon, things get further away. They seem to get narrower. So you don't need the huge height when things are at a distance, but you do need the vista because it just goes on and on and on and keeps going. Like the view of mountains, they seem really tiny in the background, so they will fit in a shorter photograph, but you want to get the whole capture. Portrait, technically being long and thin, is like us as people with our legs. If you want to get those in here, landscape, you can't see more than just like my head, my shoulders and my chest. If you wanted my legs, we'd have to flip it round so that you could see the full view. So what this means is that we can decide to turn the camera one way or the other. Now, with the advent of mobiles, we have gone back to going more portrait and traditionally upright in our photographs because we hold our phones. Now, I don't have a phone to hand because I am filming with it, but we have, if you imagine this camera is like your phone, you're holding it upright in your hand, doing selfies. It's easier to hold with two hands when you're typing messages and so forth. You're not used to holding your phone sideways. In fact, it feels quite awkward. It's much easier if you want to hold your phone sideways. If you put up your hand, you can separate your fingers and then, or you can put two fingers up around the top and the bottom with the phone. That makes for an easier grip. Or I know some people who wear if the camera is, say, this end, they put their hand like that and then use this on the side, because then they can still use this thumb to come round and operate it, but they've got a sturdier grip. So, landscape, portrait, but traditionally we used to have film cameras that had square slides that went in the back, so square used to be used a lot. Then we went into this format with TV and we got used to the landscape. Then we got phones and we got back used to portrait. And now we've got apps like Instagram, and even on Facebook now you're starting to see it. These social media things, they've brought back the square. Now a square composition is interesting because technically for a good photo, unless you want high impact and you really want to make people look at it or feel uncomfortable, like the center isn't the best. A photo feels more pleasing when something's on one third or the other third line. If you imagine that this is like a checkers board, tic-tac-toe board, noughts and crosses board, where you've got two lines here and two here to make a grid with like 9 squares across it, then if you can put people on these lines or objects and on these lines, and where they cross over, where you get the two intersecting on the, try and move my hand, on the third line, if you put the point of interest, so like my head, my eye, just here, it will actually look a lot more pleasing than just putting me bang in the middle. But square breaks all these rules. So how can we play and find out what looks good? We can make a frame. So in terms of making a frame, I want to show you why. So let's get this queued up and ready to go. Apparently my hard drive's just kicking in, so I'll talk for a minute. While it does that, I have got a frame here ready. So we are going to make our own. Right. Now it's caught up and playing ball. Brilliant, there we are. So in terms of a frame, how you see a photo, do you see that this one is landscape? But we can zoom in closer, you know, like I showed you the zoom on my camera. We can do that with our feet by walking closer, or some cameras have a zoom facility or a lens. And what you choose there, that completely changes the whole way that that photograph feels. So if I reset that and make it big again, that feels so different. So you are choosing what goes into the frame by zooming in or walking with your feet. You can see the whole scene, but they can't. They only see what you put through the viewfinder. Okay? So how you frame it up affects how a photo feels, how it looks. Now the other way you can frame it is you can frame it, and you see up in the top left corner up here, you can just see a preview of what it looks like. So if I was to do that, that looks incredibly different to if I was to frame it here. So you as the photographer get to choose what people see. And again, do you remember I said Square has changed everything completely? So Square photos look really different too. So the difference between that Square photo, a rectangle, and a portrait photo, they don't look like the same photo, do they? But they are. So that shows you the power of how moving makes all the difference. Do you know what? Let's just do that for you because I have one more image that I wish to share. So we are going to make a frame. The reason being behind it, that when you make a frame, you can look through, but you don't just see, like looking through a camera, you only see through the camera and you're not thinking about your surroundings. You're just moving the camera, but you can't comprehend what you might be missing. When you're holding a phone or looking down at a screen, you're so busy looking at that, you forget to look around you. But if you're looking at your frame, if you are looking at the frame that you're using, you can see around the edges and see what is missing, what you could be looking at. So, you know, I can, if I was to pop this up, I can look not just through it and see what I'm seeing, but I can look all the way around the edge. It gives space, like there's only a thin line that we're looking past, which helps with choosing what to see. So like he could look at this and go, oh, I see people, I want to move it over, or I see a building. But also the joy of this is we can move it looking at Square or through a rectangle, or we can flip it and have it landscape. So here you see that it's set up as a landscape, and now he's looking at the building and that pagoda is under the black thing of cardboard. So we're going to make a frame. It's dead simple. Get an old bit of cardboard, cereal box, a nice piece of craft card, whatever you have, and you're going to get a pen, a ruler, or something with a straight line like another bit of cardboard, and a pair of scissors. And with this, you're going to measure in from the edge of your cardboard approximately 1 inch or 2.5 centimetres. So you're going to draw, and you see how I've drawn dots here at 1 inch in, lots of little dots. So you measure in, you make your mark, put three of them or so on the shorter edge, maybe up to 5 on the long edge. Then you get your ruler and you pop it along so all the dots are lined up so you can make a straight line, and then you draw your line across. One thing to be aware of, when you do it, do you see here that they have made sure that the long edge is cut shorter? Like, we don't want the whole of that in, but the short edge is long. You don't cut into either side. You cut in just on the long edge, and you cut in just on the long edge here. I did it back to front earlier, and the joy of doing it back to front, as I don't know if you can see, is I shortened the short edge. So that doesn't work as well. It's harder to get the nice even rectangle in the middle. So once you've done that, cut up and across and do likewise. And with your 2 pieces, you can then change to a square. You can have it as a rectangle. You can turn it round. And with your frame, here is the challenge. This is what your task is for today. Wrong one. Your task for today is to take 3 photos. So that's 1 per comment on the feed. Number 1 is going to be a landscape photo. Number 2 is going to be a portrait photo. Number 3, okay, your camera won't take a square photo necessarily unless it's got a fancy setting, but you're going to frame it up as square and either use an app that comes, a photo editing app on your computer or your phone if you have one, and I will drop a few in the comments so that you've got some ideas of what can you use, or just put up the rectangle photo in the end, but tell me that you were going to put the left and the right off, and I might even crop it for you. So say, I want the square out the middle of this photo, but show us the whole photo. So it's not just taking your camera and doing it. The reason for the frame is I want you to walk around, and I want you to try zooming with your feet, because you can't zoom with a piece of cardboard. So you have to walk closer, you have to come further away, and see how that changes what's in your photo. Your subject. Now, if I am in the photo, I am your subject. If the window is in the photo, and that's the main thing you're looking at, that becomes the subject. If I wanted to take a photo of this duck, and he was the main thing, the most important thing, he'd be my subject. So the subject, the most important thing within your frame, can be anything you like. You get to choose that one. A landscape in your garden, some photos of your pets, your brothers and sisters, something still life. You could choose some little objects. You could set up some Lego men. You could do, if you have makeup, you could do a set of all your makeup across your desk, whatever you like. But I want you to move around. Are you going to be looking up at it? Are you going to be looking down at it? Are you going to be looking left or right? Are you going to be on a straight, or are you going to be on an angle? So you get different views, and move around and have a play, and then post those photos. Can't wait to see them. Take care, guys, and we will talk again tomorrow.